You've talked about Africa.
Yeah.
And part of the book also covers an amazing journey in India. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's another God-incidence. People say it's a coincidence. I often think when we cry out that nobody ever shows us God, no one ever tells us about God, we have no proof. That was a coincidence. That money that came was a coincidence. It would have happened anyway. Maybe it would. But I like to think of it as a God-incidence. And I remember being sent by RTE to do a documentary on a little boy who was in the south of England, India, savagely challenged, but intellectually and spiritually magnificent. And there was an English lady looking after him, Maureen, and a little boy she called Tony. She went along to a Mother Teresa sanctuary to find a child that she could look after. And she says she would tell you she felt the tug of something. She thought it was a little dog on her leg. And she looked down, there was little Tony, no size. And she virtually adopted Tony and looked after him. And I was down to do the story of this, obviously without Maureen and Tony, because they were in India. So I'm interviewing an old gentleman on his boat in Cork, who was raising funds for them. And in the middle of the interview, the phone rang. And it was Tony ringing from India. And Tony uses the phone by dialing with his toes and then flicking it up and catching it. And he was talking. So we put the phone on loudspeaker and we interviewed Tony. At the end of that telephone call, Tony said to me as he approached the end, hanging up, "Uncle Rowan," and I'd never met him before, "Uncle Rowan, are you coming to India to see me?" And I said, "I've no plans to do that, Tony. I'm sorry." "Don't worry, that could change." Within a month of that event, old Don sent out a round robin letter asking for assistance to get an airfare for Maureen to leave India for health reasons for a month. Tony would be accommodated elsewhere. And he needed so much. So I went to Dennis in Traveller Secrets in Warrenpoint, and we organised to get the ticket for Maureen. But then I got another call from Don saying, "Look, thank you for the generosity, but Maureen can't go. There's no one to look after Tony." So never having been to southern India in my life, having no knowledge of the language, and even less knowledge of how to look after a severely challenged little boy, I said, "Sure, I'll go and look after him." Wow, talking about jumping off the diving board without looking to see was there any water in the pool. And then I got to thinking, the SMAs have a place in southern India. And I think it's in Chennai where Tony is. So I rang SMA headquarters in Cork and got into a conversation with the father there and told him my story. He says, "Well, look, Rowan, this is providential." He said, "I have the head of SMA India sitting across the desk from me. Talk to him." So I told Father Patrickson the story across on the phone. He said, "Rowan, you and Tony will be our most welcome guests." So suddenly God had taken us again and made it possible for Tony and myself to be looked after in India for the period of Maureen's absence. And then we continued our contact with India, did a number of education and health projects in India, and went out to see the Don Guanellans. They're an Italian order. They run the rehabilitation centre for challenged children on the old police station road in Chennai. So out we went, and I'm having lunch with the director, Father, the name escapes me at the moment. My memory grows old, like I do. But he said, "Look, and this noise of an old lorry coming into the..." Oh, he said, "That's our bus." I said, "Wonderful." I said, "We're always intending to get another bus, but somehow other needs come up." I said, "So you need him?" He said, "Yeah." "Don't worry." I said, "I'll get you a bus for Christmas." That was in September. So I came back and on my radio programme, I put the message out, and we got the £15,000 necessary to buy a Mahindra bus in the south of India. We did that. Tony, then we had to try, and Maureen was, her health required her to leave India. So we then launched a campaign, and this was the most difficult thing in the world to do. Because me in Ireland, how am I going to get a passport and get travel documentation, study visas, blah, blah, for a young man in India, a young boy in India? It seemed an impossible task. But let it simply be said that through the SMA in India, southern India, the Society of African Missions, through Mr. Balu, the Hindu man, and through the headmaster and team at King's School in Eastleigh, in the southeast of England, Tony is now here in the United Kingdom, working away for his British citizenship examination, and he will be here permanently, and the problem that Tony has is now resolved. So again, another God-incidence.
And is Tony studying here?
Oh, he's studying, yes. He's looking for all kinds of courses now. He's been here for the last, I'm sure, six years now. And he's gone from being the little boy of 9 that I met to a young man in his 18th year. Great swimmer, all that kind of thing. Duncan Mayhew, the swimmer, was there and helped him and all the rest of it. So good things are happening.
We have more on the way, so please subscribe to this channel and check out the link below if you'd consider becoming a patron to help us keep making more content. Thanks for watching.